Hello, this is Dr. Franco speaking. Haven't done any postings recently, but been asked to do so again. There's been a number of reasons. I apologize for that. But I thought there's something that I'd like to share today that I found on YouTube. It's a posting of a TED Talk by a lady called Cassie J, billed as a feminist meets her enemies. And it's quite an interesting talk because it's the sort of unbiased and balanced way of looking at the world that I'm so keen to encourage. This lady was basically making a film about men's rights movements, and her viewpoint when she started out was basically to prove how they are all misogynist and how they are all anti-women and essentially these really bad people. And over time, when she started listening to the message that these different people were actually trying to give her, it was not about being anti-woman, but actually making the message clear that men have problems too. Now, without getting into the whole argument between who's the most victimized, men or women, or who deserves the most sympathy, etc., there's enough of that going on in the media. What she was actually trying to get across is that when you dehumanize the other side, you make it impossible for the two sides to reconcile. The only way out then is for you to utterly destroy the other side. This is something that's used in war very often. I've talked about this before, where if you see the other side as this amorphous evil monster, nowadays people like to use words like fascists or similar. If you see the other side as this absolute, reprehensible, irredeemable monster, the only way out is to absolutely and utterly destroy them. Kill them, torture them, butcher them, slaughter them, whatever words you want to use. And it's all okay because they are subhuman. Interesting echo there from the Second World War, wouldn't you say? Where if someone is subhuman, if someone is this monster, it is therefore okay. Whatever you do to them is okay. And you're not to blame because the other guy is the monster. Whereas if you were to actually see the humanity of the other side, if you were to seriously listen to the other side and see where there is overlap, see where you can actually identify with the humanity of the other side, what's happening there is you open the door to the possibility of reconciling, of actually working together to have a mutually beneficial outcome. Until you do that, however, you basically draw up a irredeemable path of destruction. There's so many quotes and so many talks around war and the terribleness of it and so forth. One of them that I remember vaguely, I think it goes something like, there are no winners in war, there are only survivors. But you can draw the same sort of parallels with the First World War, where because people were thinking linear in a certain direction, no one could actually pull the world back from disaster. Everyone blindly just marches over the precipice, and millions of people die. Second World War, no different. And you can go on about war after war. Whenever a group draws a line and basically dehumanizes the other side, you can chop people's heads off, you can shoot them, you can torture them, you can kill their children, you can rape their women, because it's okay, because they are not human. Personally, I think that's reprehensible. I think that is horrendous, and it is almost like a sort of mass psychosis. We are living in a world at the moment where this is actually very pertinent. We are dehumanizing from all sides the other. And just because the other guy dehumanizes does not mean that you should lose your humanity and your ability to see the humanity in the other side, because if someone doesn't somewhere draw the line and say, hang on a minute, we need to change this dialogue, then no one will change this dialogue. This is how people go to war with each other until the total annihilation of the other side, or you have a Northern Ireland where people fought against each other for hundreds of years, or you have total extermination of whole nations and races, as we've seen in so many places all across the world. So I guess my message is try to actually listen to your enemy. I'm not saying agree with the enemy. I'm not saying believe that everything that they say and stand for is right. What I'm basically suggesting is actually listen, really listen, and then perhaps we can actually find some way, some middle ground that can make it possible for us to actually work together and live together as humans, not as two groups destroying the subhuman other, and learn to love, as I always say. All the best. That's all for today. Dr. Francois.